delighted to present here at the Minsheng Art Museum of Shanghai the important exhibition Andy Warhol, the Pop Image. Andy Warhol is considered one of the most influential personalities and artists of the 20th century. He is one of the most shining representatives of the American pop art, an artistic movement characterized by the use of images and themes from the world of mass media and advertising. Pop art reflects the feelings of a consumerist society that idolizes the Hollywood stars. This exhibition presents a journey through the most emblematic themes of Andy Warhol's productions, and they are presented in different sections.
Still life. Pop artists rework the genres of art history. In consumer culture, there is a return to the real world and to the art of the past, and as a consequence of this, a recovery of the traditional genres of paintings, such as landscapes, still life, everyday objects, and animals. They understand still life as a vehicle for expressing the different phases of the consumer society and contemporary life in general. Perhaps the most visible and identifiable still life of pop art is for sure Warhol's Campbell's soup cans. The artist was not interested in still life fruits or vegetables. The food that surrounded him in the second half of the 20th century in New York were Campbell's soup cans. They were more familiar and provocative. These cans that his mother stored in the pantry, a special cream tomato that it was his favorite. Flowers, despite its modern execution technique, follows the venerable historical tradition of a flower still life. Here we have two different groups of flowers. The first one is the popular series done in the 1970s, based on photographer despiting for poppies. This was not the only time that Warhol focused on this element as objects of representation. Years later, he returned to the traditional still life theme with a vase and flower in his Flower Black and White series. Cows are a common subject for classical genre paintings that people usually display in their homes. To this, added the irony that this was the first in a series of wallpaper designs. With the Campbell's soup cans, flowers and cows, Warhol cleverly marries together the old and the new, and presents a renewed version of the traditional paintings. Portraits. Hollywood was a myth-making factory. Warhol had been fascinated by movie stars since childhood and had amassed a large collection of press photo publicity about movie stars and fan magazines. He used that material to extract images that were to become the source of some of his most famous paintings in the earliest portraits. One of these great mythical figures was Marilyn. Her suicide in 1962 affected him so much that he decided to paint portraits of the actress. These were based on a publicity photograph taken to promote the movie Niagara. Another of these stars was Elvis Presley, the king of rock, the most famous American rock and roll singer and sex symbols of the 50s. Warhol produced portraits throughout his career. His work features celebrities but also anonymous people. In the series, ladies and gentlemen, the artist portraits Black or Latino transsexual and drag queens captured in the world of New York's nightlife. But among all his production, the self-portrait in the multiple formats he used are for sure the most widespread and widely recognized by the public. In fact, this show starts with a photo of Andy Warhol by Antonio Zafra that captures the photographer photographed. Dressed in all kinds of garments, wigs, and most of all dresses, Warhol posed hundreds of times as a model of his own snapshots and those of other photographers. Mass media. The mass media were another of Warhol's obsession. His first moment of glory, just after arriving in New York, was when as a press collaborator he published a piece in Park East, a magazine about the rich and famous. In his passion for the mass media, Warhol, together with his collaborator Gerard Malanga, started the edition of a magazine called Interview, a publication that revolutionized the world of journalism. In this exhibition, we present a photo report of the preparation of the photo shoot for the Andy Warhol's magazine interview, in which Robert Mapplethorpe photographs Grace Jones painted in white by Kate Haring. We present a selection of posters which show a complete vision of the relationship between art and advertising in Warhol's work. Poster offers a greater freedom of expression, so it becomes a means of dissemination and authority. They could be placed in the streets where they could be seen by a large number of people, especially those who would never visit an art gallery or a museum. This concept is fundamental of pop art. Among the posters featured in this exhibition are those dedicated to cultural events, such as the New York Lincoln Center Film Festival, or the one designed for motion pictures, like Carell, done by Rain Fassbinder, or Turtle Diary by John Irving, or for theater plays such as Some Man Needs Help, written by John Ford. Andy Warhol's poster transcend the merely informative or advertising function and acquire a category of art. Andy Warhol was the producer and also designed the image of the first record of the music band Velvet Underground, in which John Cale, Lou Reed and the German singer Nico took part. Its title is The Velvet Underground and Nico, although it is also known as the Banana Album. Cinema and TV. At the end of the 60s, Warhol, as a cinephile and frequenter of movie theaters, actively entered the world of the celluloid. The Hollywood industry never considered Warhol as one of its own, but insisted on making movies. Warhol also made numerous appearances on television shows and TV commercials. In 1985, he hosted on MTV his own talk show titled Andy Warhol's 15 Minutes. This title was inspired by the artist's famous statement, "In the future, everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes."
This exhibition, The Pop Image, brings together the works of Andy Warhol. They made art accessible to the public. Andy Warhol opened new avenues for the art in the vibrant New York of the second half of the 20th century. Thank you very much.